Hi everyone, I am Karen with Walsh of Karen's Pots and Glass, and I have a little video today where I was showing one of my students at school how to create something that looks like a can, and I ended up making a can serving dish for our cranberries at Thanksgiving this year. I really did it because one of my sisters makes my grandmother's traditional cranberry relish recipe, and we all love it. It's this homemade version of cranberry relish, and we think it's so good. But I thought, wouldn't it be fun to have a can serving dish so it looks like it came out of a can when indeed it did not. So I hope you enjoy this. I'm going to show a little bit of footage of my Thanksgiving and some of the traditions that we do, and I just hope that those of you in the United States had a meaningful Thanksgiving, and if you're not in the States, I hope you have some meaningful traditional holidays that you get to share with friends and family and make some great memories. So drop me any questions that you might have below, and I hope you enjoy this and stay creative and keep potting if you can. So this was yesterday using our cranberry dish, and that's my sister Tami who makes the cranberry sauce every year, and it was a real hit. Everyone loved it. So this hunk of clay that I'm using is probably in the neighborhood of 4 to 5 pounds. I really don't remember it. Maybe I would guess 5 pounds, I guess. And for students, just keep in mind that when you're using a large piece of clay like this, a lot of times it really helps to cone it. So if you cone it, remember to keep it domed on the top. So as you are coning it, it doesn't create a well. Now, once it's centered, then I'm going to go ahead and drop that middle. And I am leaving a flat bottom on this piece. So it's going to be like, maybe 3/8 of an inch thick on the flat bottom there. My goal is I'm also trying to make a 90-degree corner on the inside of the wall. And then my very first pull, as I do this, you will see that I'm going to try to thin the rim to the final thickness. So by thinning the rim to the final thickness on the first pull, it helps you to not have an overly thick rim that sometimes can twist and pull off. It can cause beginner's problems. Just try to thin the rim from the beginning. Now I'm working on just thinning the rest of the wall. The wall, like anything, it is tapered. It's thicker toward the bottom, and then gradually with every pull, I'm thinning it out until it's going to hopefully be a completely even wall top to bottom. So wherever you have thicker parts, that's where you want to put a little bit more effort on this, and just, you know, keep pressure down there at the base of the wall. So I'm going to be doing another one right there, pushing a little bit harder down there at the base of the wall, especially from the outside, but always have that good pressure on the inside, so you're compressing between the inside and the outside fingers. So a lot of pressure down there just to pull up the extra thickness at the bottom corner. And for this one, I am going to let it kind of sit for a couple of hours before I come back and do the texture. I found that this clay was just a little on the soft side, and I didn't want to manipulate it too much while it was wet. So there we go. I'm just trying to go for a nice straight cylinder. All right, and I'm just tweaking it here, and I'm going to actually rib the slip off the exterior here at the very end. Take a little bit of that off down at the corner and then rib it. Now it's sat up for just a couple hours. It's still very plastic, but now I'm going to use a textured rib. And this textured rib, I'm just going to press against the side as I'm supporting it from the interior. So it's a little tricky to get the hang of it, but those are really fun. That I have different ribs. I'll show you in a little bit of what they look like. And then, of course, if you have any little burrs, those can be cleaned up either now, or they can be cleaned up when it's leather hard with a little wet paintbrush. Okay, so next I'm going to take a slab that is about 3/8 of an inch thick. So again, I was trying to do the same as the wall, same as the bottom, somewhere between 3/8 and 1/4 inch. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of trim off some of my extra of the slab. And I'm just going to position it on there where I know it's going to be attached. Now, I have to get the slab the same moisture, and I also need to get that cylinder a little bit drier. So I'm flipping it upside down on that board. So I'm not really handling the wet cylinder at this point, besides popping off the bat. Okay, now that is ready to all stiffen up. And here are the little textured ribs I was talking about. I do not remember where I got those once, but you can make your own from like a hotel key type of thing. Like I've shown that in other videos, but those work really well, you know, if you wanted to round the corners and stuff. Okay, so now this is the slab has been attached. Okay, so I just slipped and scored the slab on. Now I'm going to do a little bit of the trimming where I showed it off camera apparently. The little rings on the bottom, I trimmed them so they looked like the end of a can instead of just the slab. So once it was leather hard, I just popped it back on the Give and Grip and trimmed it. All right, and when it's all leather hard, it's all trimmed up. Now this is a fully enclosed can, of course. Now I have to divide it in half, and you could use a knife or you could use like a wire like what I'm doing. I'm just trying to do it as evenly as I can. I have a couple little, it's not perfectly flat. I probably could have used a knife and gotten it a little bit more even because I have a little bit of a twist to a couple of the corners, and I have to fix that up with a shredder to make sure that it's all going to be even because I didn't want the edges to be uneven. So like I just have to kind of fix up a corner a little bit there to bring it back down. And then once I have the edges even, I'm going to clean up on the interior because of course where I put that final slab on that had never been cleaned up. So I'm using a brush, I'm using little ribs, I'm getting rid of shredder marks, and then I'm also making sure that the upper edge is uniform in thickness. So if there's any area that's thicker, I'm going to just shave it down with a rib. Then I'm smoothing it all with my fingers and water and just tweaking it again one more time. Now for the legs, I do want to put legs on this because if I didn't, it would end up by rocking. I'm going to take a little hunk of clay. I'm making a coil, and then I'm actually just making little gumdrop shapes from like equal sections of the coil, slipping and scoring that on, making sure that it's level, and then cleaning up the outer edge. And then again, I'm just doing this on my other half now, all just a lot faster, cleaning up the inside, cleaning up the edge, and then attaching the 4 little legs. And of course you can make legs in all sorts of different ways, and I have different ways that I show in different videos, but this was a nice little easy way, little gumdrops. Okay, so I have glazed totally off camera. I used Amico Palladium for the exterior. It is not food safe, so I can't use it on the inside. I did 3 coats on the exterior, except for 2 coats down really close to the little legs. The legs, by the way, were just Amico Black, the velvet underglaze, because I didn't want to have it all over it. The interior was Coyote Black glaze with Coyote Marshmallow over it, just for a spotted effect. Now, this is an example of the issue that can happen with palladium sometimes. Palladium is a huge runner, okay? And even though I only put, you know, the recommended amount of coats on there, it did run down in one spot on this little guy, and you can see the foot even stuck in one place. Thankfully, this is on my advancer kiln shelf, and it'll come off easily. This is just a little snippet. This is one of my traditions that I do for Thanksgiving every year. I am the bread maker, and I like to make challah bread using some skills that I've used in class, certainly sometimes by braiding clay and everything. I just love making this double braided challah bread, and it turns out really well every year. And it is so yummy. It makes the best leftovers and great French toast. And we just always have a big family gathering. There's my dad. Dad's 93, and one of my sisters, Linda. We had a small group this year, but we always have a lot of food and just love sharing the time together and Yeah, making lots of memories. And now I have a new memory made with our cranberry dish. I hope you enjoyed this. Drop any questions that you have below, and I'll see you next time.